Well, hallelujah. The New England Patriots finally hosted a potential wide receiver one. Can you digs it? Actually, they didn't because he left town without a deal. Why have famous Patriots killer Stefon Diggs in town if you're not going to sign him to a deal? Was it a mutually beneficial agreement or could there be something more to it? Plus, who are these new guys the Patriots have signed and a whole bunch of other things? Fitzy and Mego are here to discuss it live on a brand new hot, fresh Six Rings. Let's go.
Hey, whatever it takes, man. It's all about winning, all right? Winning on three. 1, 2, 3, win!
Celebrating the heroes of Foxborough's past.
Hannah with a good block. Look at Grover. All the way. Watch the block of number 73, John Hannah.
The champions of the dynastic era.
Adam Vinatieri booms a 48-yard field goal, and the Patriots are Super Bowl champions.
The Patriots of tomorrow.
We're going to remove entitlement from our football team. We're going to earn the right to be here every single day.
And the fans whose faith never wavers. This is Six Rings and Football Things.
Well, what do you know? And here we go. Your old pals, Nick Fitzy Stevens, and of course, the fabulous and talented Miss Megan Ottolini, the legend of Mego, here on a brand new Six Rings and Football Things. Happy Friday to everyone who is currently watching live on the Fitzy GFY and WEEI socials. And happy whenever to the others that are listening to this via the Odyssey app, Spotify, Apple Pods, and wherever else you find awesome football talk. That's right. Steph Diggs is on the plate, plus a couple other players and a few other news, notes, nuggets, rumblings, and bumblings in Pat's Nation. But folks, I'm so glad you tuned in because on many other podcasts, you have people just rampantly speculating what the story was behind Steph Diggs and what kind of guy he really is. But if you tune into Six Rings and Football Things, you get Mego's perspective because someone has some family that may or may not have gone to school with Steph Diggs. What up, Mego?
It's true. What's going on? Yeah, that is not my honor to claim. My little brother, though, did play varsity football with Steph Diggs at Our Lady of Good Counsel High School in Olney, Maryland. So
that's hot. How did we get all the way to Friday? How were you not on other shows? How was this not like the top headline at weei.com? Holy smokes. Your brother played high school ball with Steph Diggs?
Yeah, they were champions of whatever conference they were in because they went to it was a Catholic high school, if you couldn't tell by the name.
Yeah. Our Lady of the Worthless Miracle.
I don't know exactly what championship they won, but they won a championship. And they ended up having like 3 different NFL players on that roster. So
damn,
props to them. Steph Diggs, though, was somebody who I remember when my brother was in high school, was somebody who was obviously headed for big things. I don't know if we all thought the NFL, but yeah, now we may have a full circle moment where hopefully, in my opinion, this summer, this fall, I'll get to be chatting with him in an NFL locker room.
You would have the inside track to the goods on Steph Diggs if, in fact, he does ultimately sign a contract with the New
We
England
could talk
Patriots.
about all our only Maryland eating spots. Be like, how you feel about, I don't know, Chicken Out. I don't know what they have open there anymore. So it's a lot of chains, actually.
Super cool. So what did when your brother saw, hold on one second. All right, hold on. Someone's what? Robert Louis Steele IV, a regular viewer here and listener to Six Rings. Hey, Fitz, I'm watching with my wife, Megan Catherine. It's her birthday, and if you could shout her out, it would mean a lot. HBMF and D, Megan F and Catherine and LFG. Thank you guys for tuning in. We love you. We appreciate you.
Good name, too.
And Megan Catherine, I know. I almost want to say like Sister Megan Catherine. She probably went to school with Steph Diggs and Mego's brother.
She definitely went to an Our Lady high school.
100%. I would bet the house money on it. So did your brother say anything else like, yeah, he was cool, or like, yeah, he was a guy people gravitated toward, or like, I never wanted to get on the wrong side of Steph?
I think he found him to be like a pretty good natured guy in the locker room, like fun. Thought my brother was kind of a riot. So if you ever get the pleasure of hanging out with my brother, you'd probably agree. But that's maybe content for another pod.
Yeah, the personality fruit does not fall far from the tree in the Ottolini family.
But I think for me, like the biggest thing here,
Yep.
and I wrote about this week,
Mhm.
is that yeah, Steph Diggs isn't somebody who we were all speculating about or talking about as a free agent that was at the top of any of our lists a couple weeks ago when free agency really began.
I thought
But
it was an absolute no chance.
well, I think that there are some serious considerations that you have to have with him from the Patriots side, from the
Mhm.
Patriots perspective. But at the same time, like I wrote this week, it's not a perfect fit for the New England situation, but it's a definite upgrade. And Fitzy, that's what we've been talking about for basically since the season ended is the Patriots need to focus on upgrading these areas. They need to upgrade the wide receiver room. You're not just going to go get a home run. You're not going to maybe just get T. Higgins and all of a sudden you have somebody to slap on the front of every program and the posters outside Gillette and everything. You just need to focus on getting better. And I think so long as the medicals check out, this is somebody who would get you better. But the medicals seem to be the biggest sticking point and seem to be really the purpose of this entire visit that he had.
Yeah, it was described. I'm not sure who the latest to drop a comment on it, if it was a Giardi, a Perry, a Breer, etc. Uh, this was more of a get to know you, reacclimation, check the medicals, how's your mother, how's your father type of get together.
How's your rehabbing your knee going?
How's your cadaver ligament going? How's your quad strength going? How are your Achilles looking? So just let's run through the timeline real quick. Oh, for God's sakes. No, we haven't traded for Lad Stenberg. You son of a bitch. You always have to try to get under my skin, and I love you for it. And that's what Six Rings is for, folks. So thank you. So let's run through the timeline. So out of nowhere, it's Wednesday night, and Pat's Twitter and Pat's socials blow up because, hey, have you heard? Did you catch the word? The buzz around town is Diggs is around. And so all of a sudden, everyone's retweeting and, oh my God, you got to be kidding me. I never thought he would visit. Are they going to sign him? He's a Patriots killer. But I thought the Patriots didn't want to have any bad character guys. He's a locker room cancer. He's a me first guy. This flies in the face of everything that they're talking about this offseason. And I don't know why I'm doing this in the voice of a Howard Hughes film from the 1940s. An old-timey newsy there for a second. And so that was a meeting and a dinner. Probably something nice, maybe a little back room at Davio's. It was Mr. DiFilippo's fabulous little
Ocean
Northern
Prime.
Italian cuisine.
Oh, actually, they were in Foxborough, so there was
They were
no
in
Ocean
Foxborough.
Prime there. Yeah.
Right. So it's either Citizen
bad.
Crust, Bar Louie, the Harp. So they get to have dinner. Then the next day, it's not a workout, but rather medicals and an eval. And it was a full day. And we don't know if numbers got talked, discussed, thrown around vis-a-vis, here's how much we have. Okay, well, we know how bad you need me. So here's what I want. Here's what kind of trajectory we think you're on, Steph. Here's what we're willing to offer. Because we know the Pats can be kind of thrifty about these things, Mego. And in this particular case, much like Cooper Kupp and any other receiver that possibly could have come to town or they'd be interested in, your need is greater even than their want, no matter what condition their knee or their career or their reputation is in. So before we get into Steph Diggs' reputation and personality, Pat's still, once again, could, should, and need to overpay. And then as far as his personality, I just want to add this. I'm not afraid of him coming in and the histrionics and a bad persona and me firstness. I think Drake could use an alpha target. I think that room needs an attitude and an edge. And as much as I want someone to come in and teach Jalen Polk, like, no, this is how you do it. I want someone to come in there, challenge them for targets, and force them to bring out, if they have any inner dog or compete, to get that shit out there and make them be more aggressive and more ambitious football players. That's my 2 cents.
The biggest consideration has to be health. He's 31 years old. He's coming back from the ACL tear that he had in week 8. And I think it's fair to have very serious questions about that. And is he going to be able to be 1,000-yard receiver this coming season, like he was on pace for last season in Houston before he tore that in the 8th game of the season? But
non-contact, by the way, too. So it wasn't like Ayuk, who they've mentioned in trade or has been mentioned in trades, where he had like a bad multi-ligament tear. This was just a non-contact ACL. And all reports are, we've seen workout videos on the X and whatnot, he looks to be, I guess, on track.
So the only thing that scares me, other than, hey, he's on the wrong side of 30 and he's rehabbing this injury, is the Juju Smith-Schuster experience that we just went through, where he told everybody when he was a free agent, yeah, I'm good. Like my knee is good. I'm healthy. And then he gets here and he's, like a 300-yard guy. You can't go through that again. And I understand why there's hesitation when you see a 31-year-old whose production is falling even when he was healthy in
Mhm.
Houston compared to the 1,500 receiving yard guy that he was
He was
when he was
out
with
of
the
his
Bills.
mind.
He
Yes,
was
he was out
insane.
of his mind those first couple years
I
with the
gotta be
Bills.
honest,
Yeah.
like, my feeling with the character consideration stuff, I
Mhm.
just don't think that you're in a position where you can be, like, so judgmental about that.
Right.
I know
No.
it's a very interesting place for them to be because you heard last week Vrabel say, "We're gonna be so intentional with the guys that we bring in this locker room." And then there were reports that came out that they weren't so interested in, like, DK Metcalf because maybe he's not a culture fit for the locker room, character fit, however you wanna say that. I think with Steph Diggs, like I remember Jeremy Fowler last year described him as mercurial, which I always get a little bit triggered by because it honestly reminds me of Kyrie Irving. But at the same time, beggars can't be choosers.
Right.
And you're beggars at this point. If you have somebody in place like Vrabel, like McDaniels, and the
Mhm.
leader that you hope that Drake May is, then I think that there should be enough solid ground underneath you to be able to manage whatever moods Steph Diggs might
Mhm.
get into.
Right. And again, if he's coming here, he knows, okay, I'm coming to a team that probably has a 9-win ceiling tops. Maybe I can bump them to 10 if the other teams in the AFC East, not named the Bills, regress a little bit this season, and I help elevate Drake May. I am playing with a second-year quarterback who only played half a rookie season. He does have the goods. He can be him. And look at the effect I had on Josh Allen up in Buffalo. And now I'm hooking up with a really good offensive coordinator who might be able to bring my best back out again because Bobby Slowick regressed so much last year in Houston, they fired him. And
Mhm.
Steph Diggs even still was on target for over 1,000 yards and 100 catches. So he was not having a quintessentially Steph Diggs type of year. That Houston offense, for some reason, got all sorts of broken and janky last year for reasons I can't quite figure out because I thought they were going to make another step forward. Um, I'm with you. I don't think I care about, oh no, he's going to come in and he's going to upset the locker room. Oh, this is why they didn't want to go get DK Metcalf because he's a diva and that's bad. We're building a high character team. There's enough good personalities there right now, and there are enough strong wills on this new leadership oriented Mike Vrabel 2025 iteration of the Pats that I'm not concerned that Steph Diggs is going to come in and proverbially upset the gridiron roster apple cart. I'm not.
It's kind of like Fitzy, the biggest test for Vrabel and what he said, as you said at the beginning of the pod in his introductory press conference, when he says, "We're going to remove entitlement from the building, and you're going to earn your way here every single day." Well, here you have somebody in Steph Diggs who is an immense talent, and this is all like banking on that he's healthy enough to go in October.
Right.
Because the initial report from Chad Graff from The
Mhm.
Athletic
Oh, he was first to blow it up. That's right. Yeah.
they don't know if he'd be ready to go week 1 as he's recovering from that ACL tear, which is okay. It's a major injury, but I don't think he's somebody that you wanna sign to, let's say, a 2-year, 26, $27 million deal, and he's sitting, you know, at
Mhm.
Thanksgiving. 'Cause
Right.
at that point, it's
No,
like,
you don't
I
want
don't really
even on
think
the Kendrick
that's
Bourne plan, right?
yeah, yeah, I don't think you wanna do that. So all that aside, again, I come back to I just don't think that you can be so precious about who you're putting on your roster. You're so
Mhm.
devoid of high end talent on the offensive side of the ball. It's time to make some serious upgrades.
He's a Patriots killer, and, as we full well know, like, the team he performed the best against in his time in Buffalo was the Pats, and if you look at, somebody, I think it was Boris Sports, who we're due to have on, in a couple of days on Monday here on Six Rings, he tweeted out Steph Diggs' route chart and
Mm.
what he runs best and where he wins, and he wins slants in all the things that he used to do against the Patriots for touchdowns. He's so good on the quick and to the left. And if you lose that half a step because of the ACL, even if he returns week 1, that does take a little step or a little zip out of his game. But everything short and around within 10 yards that Drake May probably would need to throw or that would work in the McDaniel system is what he's really good at. He's not taking the top off of a defense. He's not running 30, 40-yard burners and flies and goes. He's going to win short. And that's probably good. And I'd say for a team that's going to lean as much into their run game and their toughness, that's probably good as well. Do you think, though, there is any chance, as many have speculated in our chat, as well as around the social and proper media this week, that this was all right, look, yeah, Curran called it nonsense yesterday on our radio, saying like, oh, yeah, I'm sure they had Diggs in so they could please Tommy from Bill Ricka just to shut him up because we need a number one kid. But do you think there was any chance this was like Diggs and the Patriots like, I need some pub because no one's visited with me. We need to show our fans we took a meeting with a number one. Come on in, dinner at Davio's.
I really don't think so. I really think it was a information gathering and, like you said, get to know you mission. One being, hey, how's that knee coming along? And two being like, what kind of guy are you really? What kind of guy would you be in our locker room? How are you approaching your injury rehab? All those things I think are the major considerations that you can talk to people around the person and get a sense, and they'll have their opinions. But to sit face to face and then go through whatever testing they went through, like, why not? And that's kind of this other side of this. If Diggs appears to be on the right track and healthy enough, the downside, like, why not? Are you really scared of somebody coming in who has an ego? Everybody in the NFL has an ego. Somebody who's coming into your locker room and gonna be demanding the ball. Okay, that's gonna be any talented receiver. And you are looking at a free agent. So you've got still the most room against the cap of anybody in the NFL. You've got, I think, 73 million
Burn some cash.
yeah, that you can spend against. So is a 13, $14 million contract that you give to Diggs, who's not a perfect fit, but an upgrade, like, is that not worth doing? The downside to me is just, it's so minuscule. I kind of feel like the people who are pushing against it because they have concerns about character stuff are more kind of like protecting themselves because they think the Patriots are not going to sign this agent and this free agent, so they're ready to look elsewhere and go, well, we didn't want that guy in our locker room anyway, because they're so used to having that over the last couple seasons.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Cardi B in the first place. So yeah, I never was into Steph Diggs. Plus,
no, who could say that? Who could say that with a straight face they're not a fan of Cardi B?
At us when he would catch touchdowns at Gillette.
That's how I know.
He's a jerk.
That's how I know you're lying. If you're telling me that.
Tell me you're lying without telling me straight out that you're lying. Exactly. All right, we'll see how this goes. No deal for I don't know if he's got any other meetings lined up with any other teams. I'd still do it because of the fact that they have the money to spare. And look, if the knee is not coming along, like Welker came back 8 months after the ACL tear in 2010 when he tore it in January 2010 against the Texans. And he said that was his worst statistical career year when he was still in the Welker prime. And he said he didn't really feel himself until late in the season. Kendrick Bourne tears it in October against Miami, comes back, week 5 last year? Didn't really feel himself towards the end of the season, and now looks like he got his burst back. So you can't expect 2021 Steph Diggs to walk through that door. But again, could be some of the positive intangibles and not the negative ones that the Patriots would be looking to acquire. And they're definitely going to take at least, if not 2 dips in the wide receiver pool come draft time as well. So we'll see about that. And quickly on the other guys that came to town this week and actually signed deals, linebacker Jack Gibbons on a 1-year deal for a couple million. This is crazy, Mego. You'll never believe it. Played for Vrabel in Tennessee. He's a Vrabel, bro.
You know what? It speaks very highly of Vrabel at this point. These guys want to boomerang back to him, so that should make you feel good about your coach.
It does, and he's, again, a special teamer, substitute linebacker, quick, tough, grades out well on tackles, but he also doesn't have like the same level of experience that like a Robert Spillane, who they signed from the Raiders, does.
I hear everybody calls him Jack, so you're right with that. Yeah. That's his
thank God I didn't call him Mickey. And the other guy, Garrett Bradbury. Now this whole thing, so David Andrews, he spoke this week. He said he wasn't surprised and doesn't blame the Patriots for letting him go, but he was definitely disappointed, and it hurts.
Can I shout out David Andrews for a second?
We all should, because
there's so many
love him to pieces.
There's so many Ottolini family connections here. So my mom works at Maine Medical at the Barbara Bush Children's Hospital at Maine Medical Center in Portland. And David Andrews, even though he's released by the Patriots, showed up a couple days ago and toured their entire area and met with the kids, the patients. And so that guy's still doing the important work, even though he's not officially a member of the Patriots anymore.
Mhm. Oh, and he'll continue to. He's the nicest guy. I don't know if I think I shared this story here previously, but I don't think it was with you. The so I did a thing a couple years ago. I like to promote local artists and whatnot on my Instagram, especially when they do Patriots art and fun sports stuff. And this one guy that I've become buddies with, Jason Boucher, did this really fun painting of David Andrews shirtless on the duck boat after the Super Bowl 53
Nice.
parade in February 2019. And he was holding a stuffed animal baby goat in his hands. So I DM'd him and said, that was awesome. We should auction this off or something. He's like, yeah, I'm totally behind it. Let's do it for a charity. I noticed like, oh, smokes. David Andrews follows me. Wow. So I DM'd him and I was like, hey, would you be into autographing this if I use like a website or something to auction it off? He's like, sure. Send it to me. I'll FedEx it back to you with an autograph. Sure enough, I mail it to him in a tube, comes back a few days later with an autograph on it. And we got made like $1,000 for Children's Hospital on it because some Georgia Bulldogs fan down in Georgia bought it and was like, I'll buy anything David Andrews. We love him so much. And he ended up doing that 3 times for us.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
He's
Great guy.
he's
Great
just
guy.
the nicest guy in the world. He really is. And again, like I said previously, like I don't know if he's going to play again. If he does, I hope it's like a 1-year deal just to sort of kick the tires and have a fairly well, make a couple bucks and help another team out. But that's a void. It's tough to replace him on the field. It's impossible to replace him off the field. So anyone that's going to wear a C on their chest for the Patriots has a lot of work to do. But this Garrett Bradbury guy, Vikings release him because he's not great against the pass rush. He's a good run blocker, but he's a smaller center who gets comped to a little before any of your Patriots tracking time, Mego. Ryan Wendell, who was the center about 13, 14 years ago.
Okay.
So, everyone keeps saying like, don't worry about it. He'll be fine. Worry about the guards and the tackles more. So
Well, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with that. I don't, again, not a perfect fit, but an upgrade from what you had, which was either going to be Colt Strange snapping the ball for the second NFL game of his career at that position, or Ben Brown, who, again, is somebody I liked a lot and I think was thrown into a crazy situation when he was moved to the Patriots last year. But this is an upgrade. So, again, like I said, not a perfect fit, but I would agree. You definitely need to worry more about the tackles because where you sit today, because you haven't signed Steph Diggs or anybody else, is basically looking either hoping somebody begs out for a trade and that you're going to get some Randy Moss miracle, or you're going to execute a miracle in the draft and get your starting left tackle for this season and a very high end wide receiver, if not wide receiver 1 for this season. That just
a lot of
doesn't
hope.
happen.
No,
So
it
that's
doesn't.
why I'm saying, like, we see these guys and here's the downside here. Here's the downside there. He's not perfect, but you need upgrades. And it's really hard to think that you're going to get them all through the draft.
Yeah, I know. I will say that as far as the receivers go, according to Jeremy Fowler this morning from ESPN, the Patriots do have interest in our quote kicking the tires on Tyler Lockett, 32-year-old receiver.
Okay. You know I
released
like
by
that.
the Seahawks. He's very good. I just wonder how much he has left in the tank because he was elite for the longest time, and then there was much less heard from him in recent year. Maybe he could be the veteran presence that would come in and give everybody that little extra something that we think the wide receiver room needs, though he's not quite as shall we say outsized a personality as a guy like Steph Diggs. And then on the tackle front, Tyron Smith is still out there. I wanted the Pats to sign him last year. He actually had a sneaky good year for the Jets last year.
Okay.
Like all of his pass blocking, run blocking, all of his PFF grades are in the upper half of left tackles for the 2024 season. So if we're looking for someone to come in, not be Vidarian Lowe and teach a draft pick how to play the position, just saying maybe a little 1-year flyer on that.
I think it could be a good stopgap, especially if you think if you have your finger up to the wind and you think it's going in the direction where you have the opportunity to have Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter at that number 4 spot. So then you're going to be looking for your left tackle in the 2nd or 3rd round. And we're talking like Josh Connerly Jr. or Ozzie Trapillo, guys who are going to need some real time to catch up to speed to be a starter at that position.
I really like the Ursery kid. I got to say, like, I'm kind of hoping, my plan, draft somebody best available at 4, or if someone's like, hey, there's a quarterback available and you think there's a guy you like at 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever, trade back, grab an extra asset, use some of your extra picks in the second or the third, trade back, get someone late in the first round as well. Double dip in the first round.
Yeah, I think
and see what you and lock them up.
that'd be great. And so, like, if you find yourself in that situation, then it makes sense to extend yourself a little bit for a 1-year deal for somebody like that for left tackle.
100%. All right, that'll do for a little Friday morning Six Rings and Football Things with Fitzy and Mego. And no, Jason Lovely, thanks for shouting us out on Facebook on a live podcast. We haven't heard any interest on Elijah Moore. Yes, he is a little bit younger. He was really good early on and then has kind of fallen off the map. But like parlaying a career from the Jets into the Browns will oftentimes do that to a talent.
Yes.
So maybe, who knows?
It might not be his fault.
Indeed. All right. She is, of course, at Megan_Ottolini. If you want to follow her writing, her musings, all of her Celtics content, the great stuff she does football-wise and beyond at weei.com. I got an afternoon show to prepare for. Mike Giardi's going to be on today at 3:30. Should be a good time as always. And Monday on a live Six Rings, 10 a.m., Bo from Bohr Sports will be joining us. We'll get his free agency, draft takes, and more. And he is never shy to air out his feelings on players, selections, other people's analysis, and it's definitely going to be NSFW. So earmuffs for the kids. For Mego, for Fitzy, everyone at 2400 Sports, WEEI and beyond, this has been Six Rings of Football Things. Thank you, Mego. Much love to all football kind. And as always, great weekend, everybody. Stay safe.